Welcome to Fireside Knicks. My name is Alex, your host. Julius Randle, man, where did these comments come from? This is a crazy kind of situation that I'm not really surprised of. The New York media has always tried to exploit players, attack them when they're most vulnerable. We've seen it with OBJ. We've seen it with everybody that's ever played in New York. People have tried to come after players, and ultimately, they've done a good job doing it because eventually they break and they have something to say. Julius Randle last night, and for the record, he's had a tremendous 2 games since returning from the COVID list, and ultimately, he's really helped this team propel them to victory. 2 consecutive wins, one of them coming back from 25 points against the Boston Celtics on Thursday evening. And shout out to RJ Barrett, the absolute young bull, the stud, for hitting that bank, going to the bank, hitting it off the glass for the win. I screeched so loud, my girlfriend freaked out on the couch watching Seinfeld, had it on the side, saw the shot, went crazy. She freaked out. I was going nuts. Went and immediately watched it about 100 times straight over and over again from every single angle known to man. It was an unbelievable shot from RJ Barrett. Definitely a prayer, but I have to give him the credit, man. He needed that confidence boost big time. RJ Barrett, when he's on, he's a really great offensive player. When he's off, he struggles to a degree. So this, I think, was a really good opportunity for him to gain some momentum and boost his confidence going into a back-to-back game against the Boston on Saturday. Really good for RJ and Evan Fournier, putting up 41 points, wildly inconsistent this season. He goes from scoring 2 points and then to 41 points, showcasing just how crazy his stats really look. If you look at them on paper, he's so just up and down. He's like a roller coaster, zigzag, 0, 40, 0, 30, 2, 27. This is how his kind of season has gone up to this point. But I have to say, Julius Randle's comments after the game on Thursday were a little worrisome. They were hostile for there's no question about it. I'll read them to you if you haven't heard them just yet. But I do want to give kind of a hot take twist on it. And before I do that, this is basically what he had to say. After somebody asked him, the Knicks blowing the lead, blowing they didn't really have a lead, blowing that game up until they were down 25 points, and they obviously stormed back. But so they mentioned how the Knicks were overpowered by the Celtics despite the fact that they even won the game. And Randle, and watch my language here, he says, shut the fuck up. He's like, shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear it. I scored 22 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, had a good game, came together in the clutch and down the stretch, really helped, his team get to a victorious situation. I know they got a lot of help from Evan Fournier and, of course, the RJ Barrett shot, but don't discount Julius Randle's impact. Really good defensive game, solid offensive game. Made some clutch plays, missed a free throw in the fourth quarter down the stretch there, but that, ended up being obsolete. And I have to say, him just saying shut the fuck up to a reporter was hilarious. I was cracking up at it. A lot of people were freaking out, losing their mind. I thought it was hilarious. And I will say this. The hot take is, I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think Julius Randle going crazy on the media is a bad thing. He really said, in addition to that, I really don't give a fuck what anybody has to say, to be honest. I'm out there playing. Nobody knows the game out there better than I do compared to what everybody has to say. So I don't really give a shit. I just go out there and play. Tom Thibodeau comes out and says everybody thinks the backup should start until he has to start. Not a subtle, I don't think he was trying to take a shot at Obi Toppin, but Obi Toppin replaced Julius Randle's minutes, had 19 points, against Toronto, which is good and all, but it wasn't the impact that Randle makes as a shooter, as an isolation guy, as a really just a physical presence all around. Obi Toppin's still developing his game. Randle is obviously more situated and established. But I think that this is a good thing, right? He cursed out the media, really took a shot at the fans, gave us a nice thumbs down. I loved it. And why? He gives a shit. He cares about this team. He's passionate. That's what you want to see from your players. Passion, energy, effort. He did that. He did it because he wanted to shut everybody up and show to everybody that he's great. And I think that the last 2 games we've seen the old Julius Randle from last season, and that really stood out to me as a big sign of that he wants to be better than as he's been playing, and the inconsistencies and all of those different things that have really plagued his season. The fact that he shot back the media and the fans, I love it. And as a fan who talks some shit about him on the podcast, and I said, he's definitely not living up to the contract right now. The extension they offered him, he's not having a great season. He's regressed to the mean. I love it. Please prove me wrong. I really hope that he continues to do that and really showcase why he's such a leader on this team and what he can do, especially if the Knicks go out the trade deadline and get another player to complement him. I loved him cursing at the media. I thought it was hilarious. I thought the energy and the passion that I felt from the answers stood out to me. And I think it was a net positive. He wants to prove himself. He's pissed off that people are doubting him. That is a telltale sign of somebody that gives a shit, somebody that cares. If he was like, screw it, I don't care, I'm going to check out, we would know firsthand he didn't give a shit about the team. He doesn't give a shit about the fans, doesn't care what anyone says about him. He wants to prove people wrong. So I love it. I love the thumbs down. I love this cursing at the media, cursing the fans out, shooting back at the haters. Absolutely phenomenal. I think it's gonna revitalize this team, energize this team. They clearly appreciate and respect him a lot, considering what the players continuously say about him. So I think that even Tom Thibodeau saying that when anybody can be a backup quarterback, or everybody wants the backup quarterback to play when the starter is struggling until they see, oh crap, the backup's pretty bad. If you're a Giants fan, you know all about Mike Glennon and Daniel Jones, and that comparison, that's not even close. So this is a situation where I think Julius Randle feeds off of this. I think Evan Fournier, 41 points against his former team, feeds off of this. RJ Barrett feeds off of this, and they need to feed off of this. They need to get a nice win streak going here. They have a couple more games against sub 500 teams. They got to win. They got to string together wins. They got to get above 500, and they got to get into a play-in spot at the very least. We're almost at the halfway point in the season. We're getting close to it, but at the same time, this team really has an opportunity to turn things around. And they got to get better at home, right? Their home record, they're sub 500 at home. They've really struggled at times. Again, 25-point deficit to Boston. You cannot be climbing back from massive deficits every game and showing this unbelievable resiliency. You need to be kicking the shit out of teams, destroying them, destroying bad teams, sub 500 teams that have vulnerabilities and weaknesses. You have to beat the crap out of them. If you're a good team, you do that. Go look at the Nets. Go look at any other good team in the league. The Suns, if they're up against a bad team, they beat the shit out of them and they wipe them the floor with them and they go on to the next opponent. The Knicks struggle with bad teams. The Knicks struggle with poor opponents. And that's a really bad sign for a team that really wants to make a postseason appearance. So we'll see at the trade deadline what they do, if they can manage to do anything for this team and upgrade some spots or maybe bring in a star. I don't know exactly how they'll execute that with the players they do have on hand. I definitely expect if they are going to try and get a big name, they're going to have to part ways with the guys like Obi Toppin or Quickly or whoever it might be. And in the grand scheme, if I have to give up Obi Toppin, if I have to give up Emmanuel Quickly for a legitimate star who can pair with Julius Randle and put us in a title conversation, I am doing it 100%. Look, I love Quickly. I love Toppin. I love these young guys, but I will trade one of them for the opportunity to be in the conversation for a championship. It's about championships. I want the youth to develop and grow, but realistically, is Toppin ever going to be a top 20 player? Is Quickly ever going to be a top 20 player? Probability wise, probably not. If I have to trade that to have a chance at a championship, I'm going to do it personally. I'd love to hear your opinion. And if you have a good rebuttal to that, I'd love to hear, your disagreement and your argument, because I do like to have a good conversation with the fans as always and consider other opinions. But I hope you enjoyed this episode. Just taking a quick look at, Julius Randle, kind of a hot take on this whole situation. I think it's a good thing that he's really passionate and cursing and whatever. He doesn't give a shit. He wants to prove himself. He really wants to fight back against the negative attention he's been getting, and I really respect that. If you've ever played organized sports and people talk shit about you, if people said you were bad at something, you want to prove them wrong and you get angry about it. I think that that's what we're seeing from him. So I think that that's a good sign, in my personal opinion. But I hope to hear your comments in the YouTube section below. Make sure to like and subscribe as always, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Knicks episode.